Hey folks, thanks for watching my video. If you are new to my channel, subscribe now and ring that bell for future notifications. Thanks. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have a fantastic new recap coming your way. Guys, I am so excited for this series. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let me basically give you the premises of what's about to happen. So I have a new this is kind of a special event that's going on, a new series that's happening, and it's called Spider-Man Life Story. This is the number one, so this is that first issue, and I want to give you guys that recap. So to give you kind of the backstory of what's happening here, Spider-Man Life Story, to catch you all up on the premises, the summary, in 1962, in the Amazing Fantasy number 15, 15-year-old Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider and became the Amazing Spider-Man. 57 years have passed in the real world since that event. So what would have happened if the same amount of time passed for Peter as well? A special high-end limited series that's part of the celebration of Marvel's 80th anniversary, Spider-Man Life Story, combines the talents of Chip Zdarsky, Spectacular Spider-Man, Marvel 2-in-1, and Mark Bagley, The Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. So that's some of the work that they have done to kind of catch you up, and you may have been familiar with their names as well, to tell the entire history of Spider-Man from beginning to end, set against the key events of the decades through which he lived. In this first oversized issue, when Flash Thompson is drafted to serve during the Vietnam War, Spidey must weigh the question of where, his responsibilities lie. So, in this first book, we start off in the year of 1966. Peter Parker is in college, and you definitely get a sense for the day and age. Vietnam War is happening, and different social issues going on in the world at this time as well. It's during his college years, Peter Parker became friends with Harry Osborn and meets Norman Osborn for the first time. I thought it was interesting how Peter's Spidey senses, they started to go off when he met Norman. I think he could obviously sense this guy's favorite color is green, if you get my gist there. He also, we get some of the classic love interests. They make an appearance in this book, such as Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane as well. Don't worry, good old J. Jonah Jameson. He has this classic scene of yelling at Peter Parker and underpaying him for pictures of Spider-Man. So the nostalgia is definitely there in this book. It is real. Don't worry about that. You're going to get a lot of that within this graphic novel. I also found it unique that heroes such as Iron Man and Captain America are also helping out with the Vietnam War, which I will touch on again soon. But how cool is it to see them in real world, wars and affairs? I just thought that was really, interesting and cool. The high school jock and bully is now, signed up for the war and taking off soon to defend his country. The friends, Harry, MJ, Gwen, and many others all threw a going away party. And of course, Peter Parker was running late, but what happens here is intense, yet heartfelt when you get to the root of things. Peter essentially snaps off on Flash and still kind of sees him as the high school bully, now being praised for going to the war. Once Gwen reminded Peter that this could actually be the last time they see Flash, Peter apologizes and asks Flash, why is he doing this? Why go to the war? And Flash simply puts it, because it's what Spider-Man would do. And it was in that moment, the feels, man, they were real, so real. But it was a moment of truth, too, for Peter, because he's thinking to himself, I have all of this power. Shouldn't I be in the war, too, fighting? And Flash says in their conversation, Spidey risks his life saving people's hides all the time. It's the least I can do to show him I'm his biggest fan. And it was in that moment I was like, okay, Flash is not the bully anymore. He is the real MVP. Done deal. At that going away party, Peter goes to the bar to order a Coca-Cola and gets approached by Norman Osborn. To sum it all up, Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin, obviously, but he's been following Peter and knows that he's Spider-Man. To get his attention, he's planted pumpkin bombs all around, the going away party. If Peter doesn't comply, with his demands, then Norman threatens to set off the bombs, which obviously, could potentially kill all of his friends and everybody that's, at that gathering party. So Peter then meets Norman outside in the back of the building and quickly gets attacked by Norman in his goblin form. The Green Goblin explains that he's not trying to kill Spider-Man. Instead, it's the exact opposite. He says his son Harry is worthless, but Peter is the perfect heir to accompany his legacy, and pretty much offers Peter to join him. Spider-Man then uses his webs, distracting the Goblin, and pulls an electric, billboard right over Goblin's back, causing him to pass out. Spider-Man even has a moment where he's like, this could work out in my favor. I could just leave this guy here to die and my secret identity would be safe. But of course, he chooses otherwise and saves the Green Goblin, only to soon realize Norman Osborn lost his memory, being the Goblin, who Spider-Man is, and what just happened. So technically, it all worked out. There's still that lingering fear though. If Norman ever regains his memory and becomes the Goblin again, maybe Peter and Aunt May should move away and start new lives so he can keep her safe? But Peter can't leave the life he knows and the friends and relationships he has developing, especially the love interest with Gwen. Going on, we get a scene where Captain America is stopping goons in the city. One of them, tries shooting him, but Spidey thwips the gun away, helping out Cap. We also see, how crazy Captain America's fans, his fan base was at the time. Especially, with the news he might be returning to help out with the Vietnam War. It's also, in this scene, we get a really cool heartfelt moment with Cap and Spidey. Spidey is basically trying to navigate what he should do. Shouldn't he be in the Vietnam War fighting as well? Captain America says to Spidey, son, responsibility doesn't mean you're at the whims of the world. We all have our journey. This is mine. Those words were impactful to me as the reader. It's like we all have our part to play, and no one job or duty is greater than the other. Somehow, some way, we all contribute. And that's what I got from that segment. And I just thought that was really cool, for Captain America to say that, Spider-Man, obviously he's younger and he's just trying to navigate, what should I do? I mean, I have this power and I have this responsibility, but, should I, be defending the world, or do I just stay here in New York? What am I supposed to do with this? And, I just think that was cool just to, really touch back on that. Everybody has their path. And again, that's going to be different for all of us. But no matter what, somehow we're all contributing. And I just thought that was cool. I'm getting off onto a tangent. But anyway, going on, we see that Spider-Man contacted the police and gave them intel on Norman Osborn's secret life of the Green Goblin. Norman is arrested and taken into custody. However, you almost feel bad because the guy doesn't remember what happened. But I'm sure when he regains that memory, all hell will break loose. Continuing in this book, Spider-Man remembers that today is the day Flash Thompson is leaving on his train for the war. Peter quickly suits up in his Spidey gear and swings as fast as he can to say goodbye to his old pal. Once Peter arrives, he runs into Gwen Stacy only to realize Flash's train left 20 minutes ago. Gwen is just baffled that Peter is always late, always making excuses, and never seems to really be present. Peter apologizes, and as they are conversing, he tells her he wishes he could, say exactly what's going on with him. Then Gwen notices Peter's shirt, or at least the red and blue clothing with the spider symbol underneath his regular clothes. And that was a moment of revelation for Gwen, but I'm sure for Peter Parker, this will only complicate things further. Going on, we are now in the year of 1967, and we are overseas in this scene. American soldiers are threatening to kill natives in this land because they aren't sure if they are carrying explosives, and obviously there is, that language barrier. Before the soldiers fire and make a grave mistake, we see that red, white, and blue shield knock them away, and Captain America tells the soldiers to go back and tell Iron Man these people are under his protection. Which makes me wonder if we will see or have news going further, in this series, like a 1960s Civil War. Kind of seems like a build-up to that event. And I kind of like, Captain America's look in this. It's, a little more rugged, and he has those camouflage pants on. So he looks pretty cool. But, kind of has that feeling like, I wonder if we're going to see the Civil War happen, within this time frame. Let me know what you guys think. That, my friends, concludes this issue. Holy crap. Our next book is entering the time of the 1970s. And I can't wait to share that recap with you all and continue, this new Spider-Man life story journey. This book was phenomenal. That it was just simply phenomenal. It was bananas and simply golden. I almost want to see this kind of concept in a live action film or animation. And if you're like me, I've always kind of been confused on the comic book timeline. So to see a story that actually holds true, to the time and, witnessing characters age, this is golden. It's just simply golden. If you guys like my video today, hit that like button, subscribe, and share, and ring that bell so you guys stay notified on my next issue. Until next time, folks, wham, bam, boom.